haven't looked and talked about being diagnosed with this for so long, or better, since having been diagnosed. Hello friends, I'm Beatriz, your host here on Beatriz Book Nook, and today I am bringing to you a very special vlog actually, and I first and foremost want to thank Livia from Livia Crafts and Books for thinking of me to be a part of this collaboration. I will leave all of the videos and everyone that worked onto this vlog down below or worked on similar vlogs down below. Let me just get my book and I will try to explain to the best of my ability what it's going to be happening into this vlog. So as you probably know, and if you don't know, let me tell you a little bit. May is the Mental Health Awareness Month, and due to that, Livia decided to put together a group of a few booktubers for us to do a few vlogs when it comes to mental healthness. Not only that, but also about invisible illnesses, because a lot of us, that I will leave the links down below, we do have invisible illnesses that we don't talk very often and people don't know very often that we go through them. I myself go through not only mental health illnesses such as anxiety and the beginnings of depression, but also I go through a heart condition which is called, give me 1 second because I don't know the name in English. It's called in English arrhythmogenic cardiomyopathy, which is basically something that makes my heart have arrhythmias, and I can actually die from that, which is quite serious. I was diagnosed with it about 1.5 years ago as of right now, and since then my life has changed a lot, and there is a lot of things that people don't see that I go through, because I first try to not show them a lot, but then second, this is something that I just try to manage. I just try to go and try to keep living my life to the best of my abilities. But what did Livia actually ask from us, and what is the intention of this vlog? So since not only mental healthness and mental health has been something that a lot of authors have been trying to portray, a lot of them have also been trying to show a little bit more of different mental health conditions through their books. Not only disabilities, for example, Out on a Limb, where one of our main characters doesn't have one of his limbs, but also other ones. So the intention was for us to read a book that portrayed an invisible illnesses, either one that we suffer, ideally actually one that we suffer, or something very similar. Due to that, I decided to go on a little bit of a research and asked some of my friends, and I did end up asking Libby, which is one of my friends from here on BookTube that has read the most actually, for some recommendations, because honestly I didn't want to talk fully about my anxiety and how I suffer with anxiety, although I will definitely mention it. I wanted to come in here and talk a little bit more about my heart condition. It's something that I don't talk very often. It's something that I don't show very often, and I don't tell people what it's happening and how I'm feeling and how I'm dealing with it. But it's definitely something that I go and I deal with it throughout my day. So I wanted to share with you all a book that portrayed a heart condition. And for that, in the end, Libby came through because she had just read a book that had an ICD implant, which is something that on the long run and in the future I might have to put myself to help me manage my heart beatings and my heart rhythm, so just I can live my life a little bit better, a little bit easier, and a little bit safer. So for that, let me show you. I am reading it on my phone, which is not the best, but it was the only way that I was able to get the book because it's only available on Kindle, and the physical copy was a little bit too expensive for what I wanted to actually pay for the book. So I am going to be reading, or I am actually reading already, Change of Pace by Kayla Grosse. I am basically, what this book is about is we are following Jessie. And Jessie, she had Kawasaki disease. She survived from having Kawasaki disease, and recently she just put a ICD implant onto her heart to manage her heart and to manage her condition. Because when it comes to heart conditions, we either go through all of the emotions, none of the emotions. We don't have a middle ground. Jessie decided to create a bucket list. So this bucket list is something that Jessie wants to create because unfortunately when it comes to heart conditions, what we go through is the uncertainty if the next day is going to be our last day or not. So due to that, she decided to create a bucket list. And the first item on her bucket list was to get a one-night stand. And that is what she does. She goes to a bar with a friend. That friend basically ditches her for the bartender. She then meets two girls on the bathroom. They go out to dance, and then she meets Ash, which is our main male character of the story, and I'm currently enjoying it a lot. I am about 17% in, and if you know me, you know that I'm not vibing with romance a lot at the moment, but let's see what it's going to be happening. At the moment, I am enjoying. We already had a smut scene, which I didn't really appreciate, but it's fine. It's nothing of the extraordinary. We are now on the following day after the smut scene, and Jess and Ash did their thing, and she is now telling her best friend of what happened. When she woke up, basically Jessie thought that Ash had simply left her, but actually he just wrote onto her bucket list, which was pinned and taped to her bathroom mirror, which she didn't think anyone was going to be seeing it, but Ash ended up seeing. So one of the reasons why Jessie is so concerned, and one of the reasons why she's having such a hard time just, I don't know, doing things after being diagnosed and after putting the implant, the ICD implant, is due to her scar. So this relates a little bit to me. Because of it, everyone is always concerned around me. Everyone is always worried that something is happening, that my heart isn't feeling good, and that I might have pain, and that I might have a need to go to the hospital. Although the meds are quite helping. The meds that I take every single day, they do help me get and manage my life a little bit better with my heart condition. But obviously there are days that are a little bit harder than others. But I just want to read to you all this little passage that I have already underlined onto the book, that basically says, once you have 2 heart attacks and a subsequent ICD implant to prevent another catastrophic cardiac event, you start to look at things differently. And I related to this a lot because once I was diagnosed, the world was in shambles. I didn't know what I was going to be doing. I didn't know how long I would survive. It has been 1.5 years and I'm still here, luckily. And basically all of my world crumbled at my feet. And this book is teaching me a lesson, at least as of right now, that although yes, I have this condition, I am diagnosed with it, it doesn't mean that I need to stop my life, that I need to just don't do things. I can still do them, but I have to be a little bit more cautious than other people because my heart might not go along with me. But that is unfortunately the situation that I live in, and I'm just happy that my body keeps working with me, that my heart keeps working with me, and that I'm still here and making this video for you all. So I'm currently at 17%. I'm going to be trying to do a little update as fast as I can or as often as I can. You know how this goes already on this channel, but as of right now, I'm quite enjoying it. The smut scenes are not for me, but I'm still reading them, whatever, it's fine. But I am enjoying the overall like book thing. It's fun. The story, it's interesting. It's a romance. It's fun. It's cute, and it is not to be taken like too serious. So I am quite enjoying it due to that. I just need to keep reading a little bit more because I want to know what happens with Jesse and Ash, and for that I need to get on with the book. So once I have a little bit more updates, I will come back to you, and around the middle of the video we are going to be talking about what it's living like with the disease, the condition that I have, and also I'm going to be sharing with you what is like living with anxiety, having that condition, which makes things a little bit harder if you didn't know. So until the next time, I will see you in a little bit, friends. Bye. I'm actually here for to give you an update on how Change of Pace it's going. I am currently at 60%. I decided to just update now because, to be honest, although it's a romance book, I don't know why when it comes to doing vlogs and talking about romance books, I have a hard time updating because although some things are happening, I just want to get a little bit more than what I have. But I am currently at 60%. I'm coming to do this update because, as I've promised you earlier, I am going to be talking about what it's living with my condition. Besides that, also what it's living with it and adding up anxiety to it. Let me talk to you about the book first. So what I have to do to say about the book. So it is an easy read. So it is a book that is very easy to read, very easy to keep up with. One thing that I have to say is that it is indeed a little bit of those type of books that you will know what it's going to be happening. You will understand while things are happening and throughout the points of view what it's going to be happening. So it's a very predictable book kind of thing, and to be honest, we only had one smut scene on the first chapters of the book, and currently I'm almost 60%, no, I am already 60% through the book, and we haven't had anything, which is good for me. I like when the stories develop in this way, so they are not adding the smut and the spicy scenes just for adding them. They are actually trying to connect and create something a little bit more besides that, which I am quite enjoying in regards of this book. I do believe that the author did quite a good thing when it comes to that. Besides that, what I have to say about the characters. So this is the trope where it's like the best friend's brother, which, as I said before, I'm fine with that. It's I don't love it, I don't hate it, I'm fine with it. Honestly, it is a very like middle of the road book for me. I not loving, not hating it. It's a fun time, fun to pass the time while I'm at work and I can read. Other than that, I don't have much to say. It's a very much no-brainer, in between, get out of a reading slump type of book for me. What it's making me happy about the book is actually the representation in it. Besides our main character having survived Kawasaki disease, 2 heart attacks, and now having an ICD implant, this is the female main character. Our main male character also has his own little things, and the main one is that he suffers from ADHD, not suffers, but he is diagnosed with ADHD. And we had some moments where he was talking and he was sharing what it was like growing up, not only having ADHD and thinking a little bit differently than the other kids, but also what it was going like to growing up with ADHD, not being diagnosed with it, so not knowing how and why he was feeling that way, and why everything was happening to him in a certain way, but also being bullied by the other kids due to the ways that he was. So I can appreciate quite a lot the representation of this book. So far, I am enjoying it. I am happy with what I am reading. I think it's very well done. And I have had and I have read in the past a book that has a mention to a heart condition or a heart disease, and I didn't like the way that it was done when I compare it to this book, because to this book I am quite enjoying the way that it's being done. I think it's really well done. It's amazing, and it definitely portrays the feelings that someone with the possibility of either putting an ICD implant, having an ICD implant, or even just having a heart condition feels and goes through the days. But I have a few quotes that I have highlighted that I want to talk to you about, because while I was reading them, tears came to my eyes, because I never felt so seen as I did as I do while I'm currently reading this book. Let me explain, let me get the quotes, and we will talk what it's like to live my life as someone that has a heart condition and still tries to do everything that I can do. So this is the first quote that I highlighted in this book. And when you just get diagnosed, and let me explain to you a little bit of my journey with having been diagnosed with arrhythmogenic myopathy. So what is the condition that I have? So it's basically a genetic condition. This was passed to me by my genes, so technically, so it is not something that I can get from other people. It's something that already runs in my family, especially in my case, in my father's family. So that is too much information, but that is information. So in October of 2023, I started to feel a lot of chest pain. So to the point that I couldn't sleep, I was in a lot of pain, and I didn't know what was happening. Here in Portugal, we have something that it's called Health 24, so it basically translates to Saúde 24, which is a health line that we need to call before going to the hospital or anything like that in a emergency. So I called them in the morning of Friday, and I basically said, hey, I am feeling a lot of chest pain. It is coming to my arms and my hands now. They are kind of asleep, and this is not normal. They basically said to me, you don't have to worry, that is just an anxiety, but either way we are going to be sending you to the hospital for you to get checked. I was then directed to the hospital in my city. I basically called my mom, she was working, and was like, I need you to take me to the hospital. Something is not right. So my mom took me to the hospital. I did the triage, and once again they told me that it's just anxiety. You don't have to worry about it. And I was like, okay, fine, but this doesn't look like anxiety to me. So then I got I entered the urgency and the emergency room. I was seen by a doctor, and then they put everything that I need to put when you get into the emergency room, and they did me some blood works, chest x-rays, and so on. When the blood works came, lo and behold, it was not just anxiety. I had an inflammation in my heart, which is what was causing the pain. So basically, then from there, because my hospital in my city doesn't have the condition to monitor my what they needed to monitor, I was taken to Lisbon, where I stayed for a full week in the cardiology area to be monitored and to so that we could understand what was happening. By the end of the week, after many exams, many painful exams, I was finally almost diagnosed with the arrhythmogenic myopathy, cardiomyopathy. I don't remember the name in English. And before I was fully diagnosed, I had to do genetic exams where they basically looked at my DNA and they tried to understand if there was in one of the genes a mutation that was causing what I have. And what I have is basically my heart. I can have arrhythmias and at any point, any time, and that arrhythmia can be so severe that I can stay there and never wake up again. But luckily, I have done a lot of exams since being diagnosed with it, and my heart is a lot more strong, it's a lot more powerful than what we actually think, and I am fine, I am stable, and as far as I don't push myself too much, I can go and live my life as normal as possible because that is the intention. And as of right now, I don't need to put the ICD implant. I have already done an exam for that and the result came negative, so I don't need to put it as of right now. In the future, it might be something that we need to look at, but right now, I don't need to have one. But being diagnosed with a heart condition at 23 years old, it's hard. Don't think it's not, as it's hard having it diagnosed at 1, 2, 3 years old or later in life, but especially at 23, you are just starting your adult life. You are just starting to work, to be able to do experiences that you would want because you are just starting to get the possibility to do them. And seeing your wings, seeing your legs cut due to that, it's not easy, especially for someone I that wanted to do so many things. I wanted to run a marathon, for example. It's not something that I enjoy. I don't like running, but I don't know why I wanted to run a marathon. Before I was diagnosed with it, I was thinking of going back or entering badminton in a way that I never did before. So it was hard for me to get diagnosed with this condition at 23 because I still have so much to live, and I feel like that I was cut so much that now I cannot do. But this book is interesting to the point that I feel seen, I feel heard, and I feel like the author has done an amazing job showing what it's like living with a heart condition. All of this rambling, it's because the first quote that I highlighted on the book was when I was living under the guise of being perfectly normal and didn't have the burden of wondering if every breath I take could be my last. The reason why I highlighted this quote and not another one was indeed due to the fact that while we have a normal life, we don't live thinking tomorrow can be my last day. But when you live a life where unfortunately and sadly you don't know if your heart, you don't know if your system is going to be able to keep up with your day-to-day activities, you do start to wonder, is tomorrow going to be my last day? Is the next breath that I take going to be my last day? And I thought that a lot in the beginning, but I don't do as much now because I have been fine for 1 year and a half now, which is quite good. Not every breath is going to be the last one. The other thing that I highlighted was basically when our main character Jessie was looking into the past and looking into seeing how our main male character in her past, for her being hospitalized and having her disease diagnosed to her and the ICD implant. She was saying that before I almost died, I believed in fairy tales, but she lost that version of herself in the hospital, and I related to it a lot. So it was hard, but being in the hospital, I cried a lot the first day, and the nurses were like, "Why are you crying?" And I'm like, "I don't want to be here, but I have to be here." But yeah, it was really hard because you never expect to go into the hospital just to check up if everything was okay, and then to not be home for a whole week, which is hard. And because you have so much time, you start to look into things and you start to basically look into what is happening, and you start to see and think, why is this being put upon me? I was always healthy, I was always doing my best to have a healthy diet, to do exercise, and so on and so forth. And then everything comes crumbling down, and it's hard. It gets hard, but it also gets easier. That is the good part, I believe. So living with the disease that I have, it's hard, but it's not as hard as some other diseases, I believe. I am stable. I just have to be very cautious when it comes to high intensity things. For example, high intensity workouts, high intensity emotions such as very high adrenaline and so on. Due to that, I started to wear a smartwatch for my heartbeat to be monitored so I can see how it is going during the day. But the hardest part of living with my condition and living with a heart condition is when you actually have anxiety. Because I do have anxiety, as you probably know. I suffer with mental illnesses quite a lot before or besides my heart condition, and the worst one is anxiety. And why I say it's the hardest one to deal with in conjunction with a heart condition is due to the fact that the symptoms are very similar. So it was a very long way for me to be able to understand what was anxiety induced and what is my heart telling me something is not right. So I couldn't understand, but now I do. Luckily, I am managing, I am living life, and I am doing everything one day at a time. But definitely living with this condition that I now have and the anxiety that I had previous to being diagnosed with it has been hard, and has been a lot of trying to balance both and trying to understand what can I do to minimize my anxiety so that my heart doesn't also suffer, because that is one of my unfortunately biggest problems, is having my anxiety in control so that my heart doesn't suffer more than what it should, in a way. Good afternoon, friends. I don't have an update for you right now. I haven't read much since I last update you, but it's time for me to finish the book. I am around 70% in. Donna and Hermie are now going to be sprint. Today is Saturday. Today is going to be my rest weekend because I need it. It has been hard. I got a fever from tiredness. So let's get into reading because that is what I need. And that is what I'm going to be doing. So I'm just going to be resting. Currently I have some hair products into my hair to do its magical thing. And later I will just take my little shower. But right now, let's just read Change of Pace. have been reading the book, only have the epilogue left, so let's finish the book because I'm getting tired of it. I am getting so bored, but I'll talk to you later when I finish it and all of my opinions and what I have to say about it. So... Hello, my friends. I am initiating my villain era in this position that I'm here, as I see. Well, no, I'm just coming up to you to let you know what I thought of Change of Pace. No, Change of Pace by Kayla Grosse. It was an interesting ride, so let me first start by talking to you about my opinions on the book. So, you know what I feel about romances, right? Yeah, my opinion still stands, friends. I don't really enjoy reading romance that much. I do much prefer a book that has a lot more action on it, so meaning either fantasy, a mystery, a horror, or even sometimes I prefer literary fiction. Although I do even read that genre less than I do read romance, but how can I say this? This book was so middle of the road when it comes to the book itself. So I am separating this little bit into the book and its representation because I think they need to be separated in here. But about the book, I could tell like every time what was happening. It was something that was like clear as day, and yeah, all of the tropes, there was nothing new into the book. The thing that I disliked the most was even the fast-paced romance. Everything in the book happened in like 3 months or less. So I'm like, yeah, not for me, honestly. I didn't really enjoy the romance. I didn't enjoy the book for its romance part, and my rating comes up very much due to that. At like more than half of the book, like 30% left of the book, I was bored. There was nothing new. They were just like our girl, so Jessie was just deciding if she wanted to be with our main character Ash, and that was pretty much 30% of the book. So yeah, I did not enjoy that ending. It was so meh, so something that I could see like a mile away happening. And as you probably saw, the beginning of the epilogue was so cringe that I couldn't do it. Like, I almost thought, to be honest, not reading the epilogue. Because I knew what was going to happen, so what was the point in it? So that is my opinion on the book itself. So let's now talk about the representation, because I think that the representation was the best thing that Kayla Grosse, that is her name, right? Let me check on my bullet journal. Kayla Grosse did exactly for this book because it was so well done. So I first want to say that I relate to our main character Jessie a lot. So basically she was diagnosed later in life where she was already ready to live her life. She already knew what she wanted to do. She already knew what was, and like she knew how to live life. And then at 26 years old, she got diagnosed with undiagnosed Kawasaki disease, which then made her having two heart attacks, two heart attacks, and having to put an ICD implant. If you don't know what an ICD implant is, just to let you know, that is a monitor dispositive, like a monitor thing. It's not the same thing as a pacemaker. It's kind of different but functions similar. So an ICD implant basically works on the way of it will give you a shock if something is wrong with your heart. So it's more on the side, and as far as I know, it's more for if something is happening with your heart, which, for example, in my case, if I had to put it, if I was having a really, really, really bad arrhythmia, what it would do was to give me a shock so that my heart then could come back to its normal pace. So that is basically, as far as I know, and I don't know much about it, what an ICD implant is. It also monitors your heart rate and provides that information to your doctor so they know how you are doing and so on, so that they can also understand if they need to change, alter, or modify something that you are either taking something, if and seeing if something is wrong and how your heart rate is going throughout the day. And why was I explaining this? Oh, right. She then placed an ICD implant after having had so many things and so many conditions happening to her, let's say like that. So basically, she had 2 heart attacks and undiagnosed Kawasaki disease. So the doctors decided it was the best for her to put the ICD implant. So after she put the ICD implant, and this is something that I related a lot throughout the book, and that is why I do believe that this is so well done. After you are diagnosed with something like this, there are a lot of things that go through your mind. I am sure, like, I have had so many things and so many situations going through my mind that I am unaware of what to do. I get stressed, I get anxiety, and I don't want people to treat me differently. And so basically, what I do think that the author did in here is explaining what it is like living with a known disease and a known condition that can make people treat you differently and also can scare you shitless, let's say it like that, because you can die the next day without knowing. Let me explain to you a little bit further what I mean with people treating you differently. And this is something that I have also felt, and that unfortunately I feel every single day, because when you go through the diagnosis, so when you are getting to know that you have a heart condition, basically the thing that you get most afraid, at least for me, it was I cannot be here the next day. That is one of the things that you get most afraid. But the second thing that I do believe it gets us the most scared is I don't want people to treat me differently because I have this condition. I want people to keep treating me the same. I want people to not worry about the situation and just let me live my life. And that is something that I relate a lot, and I do understand that situation a lot. And then something that I also relate a lot as a single girl, as a single woman, something that was talked throughout the book, especially it being a romance book, was the fact that Jesse didn't want to put on Ash the burden of having a girlfriend, someone alongside him that had this condition. That is something that I have also felt. So I just think that the book, the story itself was not very good. It was very predictable. It's a romance book. I cannot expect a lot from it, honestly. But the representation on it of what it is like living with a heart condition, even though it is a different condition than the one that I have, it was so well done that a lot of times I was crying because of how relatable and how I was feeling so seen in a book. So, unfortunately, due to me not being able to get past the story itself, the book is getting a 3 stars. Just overall, I think it's a very middle book, but if I was just fully rating on how I felt reading the book, and if we are just going to be talking about the representation that the book has, then that would be a 5-star, because I haven't have read a book where I get so that is how I feel. Like, I have never had a book where I felt like this, and I'm just happy that this book exists so it can show people what it's like living with a heart condition. Not only that, but also making understand the people that read this book that we don't want to be treated differently. Like, you don't have to worry about my heart. I already do that with my doctors, so please don't treat me differently. I know what are my limitations and respect what I decide to do and don't, because before I do something, I will also go to my doctor and ask him if it is fine for me to do it. So, yeah, I just think that it was a very light read. I just want to go back to my fantasy books now because I am missing them so much. Romance is really not for me, unfortunately. I will keep reading it here and there. It's not the first one that I read this year. It will not definitely be the last one that I read during the year. I do have the top shelf on this bookshelf full or almost full of romance books that I haven't read yet. So, yeah. Once again, I want to thank Livia so much for asking me to join this project, and I will definitely leave everyone else's links and everyone else's videos down below in the description box so that you can go and watch them and see their experiences with their invisible illnesses that you might not know about. So, yeah, I think this is all, friends. I will see you all on my next video. Until the next time, I hope you have an amazing rest of your night, day, or evening, wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you all the next time. So until then, bye, friends.